चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीचैतन्य स्थापितं येन स्वयं रूपा ददाति स्वपदम् श्री गुरु श्रीयुक्तापदम् श्री गुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्री सागरजातं सहगणाधवनाथामृतं वंशये राधवैतं सागरजनासं कृष्णचैतन्ये श्रीराधा कृष्णपाद सहगणाधविता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरशिष्ये नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते श्रीते राधे वृंदावनेश्वर विशुद्धानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि नीलाचलो नित्यायान्मने बलभद्राय सुभद्राम्याम्यनन्दाय नमः। पाञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण जय कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं। today. Arjunvacho Yoyam Yogastvaya Prokta Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na pashyami Chanchalatvat sitim sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. But the system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the words Sashodeshe and ending with Yogi Parama, is here being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization, even by simple practical means. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow the system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior. He had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna. the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet, he refused to accept the system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any recorded history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, this system must be considered greatly impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this was so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so-called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal. Arjuna said in Madhusudana, the system of yoga, which you have summarized, appears impractical but unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unstable. Srila Prabhupada explains Arjuna is relating this process out of feeling of inability. All through when we have been reading these verses, which are talking about equal vision, seeing every living being equally, which are talking about seeing the Lord everywhere, seeing everything in the Lord and the Lord in everything. Keeping the mind and senses in control, look for the Paramatma within. Choose an elevated asana, not too high, not too low. Kushagras. So when we are hearing all these principles, we have been reading all these principles. Because of the process of Krishna the Prabhupada given us, we are able to see all these principles and directives which are best fulfilled in the practice of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, right from the first point, we are seeing them as principles which can help us aid in our bhakti. That's how we are seeing them as. Right from the beginning, as soon as we started Shashodesha. But if you see them in isolation, we are seeing them as principles which can aid our devotional service, and because in purport Srila Prabhupada presents it that way. The Prabhupada is not presenting any of these principles in an isolated setting. Prabhupada is presenting these principles in the setting of Krishna consciousness. Now, when we see them in isolation, one can see that these principles sound to be quite confusing, dreary. So Arjuna is expressing his inability. So Arjuna is hearing and trying to churn the point. Okay, you should have equal vision for all living entities. And he's looking at Yudhishthira. Then he's looking at Duryodhana. Then he's looking at Yudhishthira. And he's looking at Duryodhana. And he's looking at Yudhishthira. And he's looking at Duryodhana. And then he says, I cannot look at both of them with equal vision. He said, I cannot look at them with equal vision. It is so difficult. So what makes now we may say, okay, these are rules and principles which can elevate our consciousness, which can uplift us. What are you saying? They are not meaningful, they are very meaningful. Because they can uplift our consciousness. The rules, the principles, they can uplift us, they can elevate us. And yes, that is very true actually. They can elevate, uplift. So, for sense control, surely he will be able to practice the Krishna consciousness. He's going to be more focused, more sense controlled a person is. But why the process of Ashtanga Yoga becomes impractical is because the aspect of dependence or Sharanagati on the Lord is not at all prominent. Ashtanga Yoga means that one is trying to elevate his footing so that he can come to the level that he can become of being qualified to meet the Lord or to do handshake with the Lord. So it's like saying, okay, I will develop that much caliber that then I will take dinner with, say, the President of America. So yes, one can, but one has to develop that much caliber. One has to do something extraordinary. At the country level, at the world level, something extraordinary. So, some extraordinary humanitarian work, or some extraordinary research, or something extraordinary, like that. So, then only it's possible, otherwise, it's not possible, like that. Whereas, the process of bhakti, the aspect of Sharanagati is very important. So right from the beginning, a sadhaka has no interest in trying to increase his caliber, but a sadhaka simply humbly calls out to Krishna. So the process of bhakti is one is drowning and one is calling out to Krishna. Please pick me up from this ocean of water. Replace me as one of the atoms at your base. That is the process of bhakti. Ashtanga yoga is, Lord, I'll come, we'll have face to face. That's how it is. This is the difference actually in the consciousness. The aspect of Sharanagati is not common. So therefore, therefore the only solution is to become extraordinary or great. And therefore one may tend to perform very Herculean activities, which will be impractical and impossible for the mass of people. That's what Prabhupada is teaching. So many times in the practice of bhakti, the aspect of Sharanagati is very prominent. This is true even in the principles of deity worship, where principles and rules are very important. In Pancharatra deity worship, there are also the clauses there. If there are so many mantras and mudras and mantras and everything, but in a particular procedure, if you forget a mantra, then the solution is given. The solution is given that okay, if you forget the mantra, then you can chant the Maha Mantra. That principle is given in deity worship. Not that you should never make any attempt to memorize. No? We should not say just Hare Krishna. It's we should with nicely memorize. But somehow your intention and you're not able to access it from the memory at that point, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. So the aspect of Sharanagati is very prominent. So therefore we will see in Ashtanga Yoga, the consciousness which is prominent is I will make it to Krishna. I will struggle, work hard, make it to Krishna. So the I factor, personal caliber, everything starts becoming very prominent. In a devotee's life or in a devotee's profile, he does not think I'll make it to Krishna. He feels that without Krishna's mercy I cannot survive. And okay, in desperation I can move my hands and legs here and there and cry here and there. But without Krishna's mercy I cannot survive. That's the difference in consciousness. So here we see Arjuna. He's humbly expressing his inner beliefs. Just like I remember when we were trying to take admission in ICFC, the new Brahmacharis recruitment program. So the temple. That time, many devotees have given a lot of principles how to deal with parents. It was a very sensitive issue, very sensitive subject matter, sensitive moment. So many devotees used to say one of the principles was that you should be very, you should not fight or shout back at parents. You should not fight or shout back at parents. Parents. You have to deal with parents. So, discuss with them that you want to be in the temple instead of being in fancy company. So, to discuss with them. So one of the clause was to remain humble, firm but humble. If you want to drive it, so firm but humble, like that. So I was very much depressed by this aspect of this principle. Why? Because the operation was so great that it was just impossible not to spray anything like that. Yeah. Because yeah, so one day they took me to a psychiatrist, and then that fellow was recommending shock treatment. So they were about to administer that. Another day, some black magic fellow had come. Do some black magic not like that. So boxing used to be there every day, So it's like you can keep your hands like that, but somebody is boxing, at some point you say, "Bus, this is not." Or like that. This is very difficult actually. So I was very morose because I was not able to follow this like that. And because the other side was not, it was not a war with Bhutan, it was a war with China. So it was like that. So so it was difficult actually. So I was very morose, that very difficult. So I had already lost it 2 times. 2 attempts were failure attempts like that. And I was going for 3rd attempt, I was very morose, this principle I'm not able to follow, it was difficult like that. So like that. Then that time the ICFC devotee in church, so he told me, he said, so that was very encouraging actually, I really felt very encouraging. He said, be what you are and do what you can. And leave everything else to be. So I understood that principle was encouraging. Because this is something I was just not able to follow because of the setting or because of my own conditioning, everything, whatever you can call it as. Just not able to follow, be very, because that the bombarding was too strong to not retaliate. Like that. So we gave a very nice principle. So then I understood that, okay, I should do very strong sadhana, very strongly, I should pray for more and more time. So be what you are and do what you can do. So 3rd attempt also was strong. But then I was intensely praying and everything. But it worked out somehow. And I got permission. Like that. So my mother gave me permission. So I got permission. It worked out. So now the point is that, very intense, but here, so the whole point is that And you can never say, in this case, you can never say that, okay, enough, I did. मैंने करके दिखाया स्ट्रेट ड्राइव मारा है कि नहीं उधर से चलाया उधर से घूम के स्ट्रेट वापस है कि नहीं लैंडिंग that's the point. So this is devotional service. And okay, we may have some conditioning in certain situations because of which certain rules may become very stringent for us. Follow to practice fully in that sense. But then the more important principle is to take shelter of Krishna and to move on with determination. That is the idea which has been so prominently portrayed here. So no doubt if one can practice it,
something like somebody is conditioning and it's okay that he's not able to follow that, but then he completely aside that rule is lowest.
no, that is rebellion. Inability to follow is not rebellion. Arjuna is not saying what is progress, use that, मैं बताता हूँ क्या होना चाहिए.
This is completely impractical. They strongly this is impractical.
No. So it's when Arjuna is saying impractical, he is talking about himself. He's not questioning the process. So the healthy attitude is not to question the process, but we have to question our capabilities. That's all. So otherwise it goes wrong. It goes offensive, it goes rebellious. Then there is no following. So we should understand the demarcation between a demon and a demigod or a devotee and a demon is simply the willingness to follow. But okay, I want to do this, but this one is looking little difficult. Can something be, can I get to understand or learn something by which it can become easy? The baseline is I want to follow. I want to practice. I want to move forward. So therefore that is why the point is that to keep our consciousness healthy, we should never reject the principles given in the Shastras. We cannot follow 100%, follow 90, 80, 70, 30, 40, 30, 20, 10, something. And then over a period of time, try to improve. But one should never be rebellious of the principle given in the Shastra. It's a Veda Vakya. Then only we are qualified, or we have the patrata to receive the mercy of the Lord, because then only we are qualified to be called a devotee. So there is nothing wrong in taking shelter of Krishna. When one is feeling that this one is difficult for me to follow, then we are taking shelter of Krishna and requesting Krishna that please reveal to me some things I can follow or give me the strength to follow. Or both. So mind it, Arjuna is not giving an excuse. This is the point. Arjuna is not doing an excuse. Krishna, you said this, taking it away. So we are saying, Krishna is saying, He's not giving an excuse like that. Arjuna is humbly presenting the principle. Humbly presenting. So which means that dependence on Krishna Sharanagati is so powerful that even if one is incapable, still he can keep moving forward. But mind capability or incapability is only understood when one makes a solid attempt to follow. Just hearing that, nahi hone wala hai na, wo bolne se कोई फायदा नहीं. We should try, and when we try and it doesn't work out, then we should cry. Or while trying also you can cry for Krishna. Chanchalam jeevana Krishna Pramati Balavartham Tasyaham Nigraham Hatye Vayur Iva Sudushkaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium towards both friend and enemy. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium, but ultimately, no worldly man can do so, for it is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. In the Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad, it is said, Atmanam Radinam Vidhi Shariram Ratanev Uttinto Saratim Vidhi Hana Pragaham Evach Indriyani Ayanayu Vishayam Steshu Gochar Atmendriya Manuyuktam Bhoketi Ahur Manishinaha. The individual is the passenger in the car of the material body and the intelligence is the driver. The mind is a driving instrument and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and the senses. So it is understood by great thinkers, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. As an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of the medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly man like Arjuna. And what can we say of the modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind. And it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested to Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance, in all humility. The method prescribed here is Sabai Manah Krishna. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind. When machine parts get stuck up and jammed, they need lubrication and oiling. That lubrication goes into the various joints of the machine and ease the motion of the mobility. Similarly, we will see in cooking also, when things get very stuck up and jammed on the vessel, then you cannot just scrub it, it will be difficult. So that time you have to soak it in hot water. Is it not? So with that, slowly, that hardening gets softened. So sense gratification hardens the mind. Very simple. It's dynamic and it is scientific. Sense gratification hardens the mind. Krishna Goshi softens it. It's like molten iron is quite soft, it can flow also, you can keep it in a bucket. Huh? It's liquid, it can flow. Obviously, it is more viscous than water. But then it can flow, it has the capacity to flow. Molten iron. So we can understand that if we keep the mind in touch with the materialistic vibrations, the materialistic lifestyle, then the mind is going to become more and more hardened. And because the mind becomes hardened, then the mind is going to create problems. Therefore, we engineer our settings to create a favorable atmosphere. Why? Because that favorable atmosphere softens the mind. Therefore, we keep ourselves hearing and chanting. Why? Because it softens the mind. And the mind is very powerful. So, a powerful man can create more damage. And a powerful man becomes outrageous, it is more and more. So, just like you said, if you encounter a wild animal, don't poke him. If you poke him, he will gobble you up. Sometimes you can see the animal's animal, he's peacefully sitting, but he's not a peaceful fellow. To go and give a pat. One has to be very careful. So the mind has to be treated like this. If the mind goes mad, it is very difficult to control. So the process of Krishna consciousness is softening the mind, like that. So process of Krishna consciousness softens the mind, then it is easy to remove the anarthas, so it becomes practical to wipe off the anarthas. The profile of service engages the mind in something else, is it not? So if the mind is completely focused on our case, we cannot give a fight back, very difficult. Just like if the child is crying, then he is shown new things, so that the child gets engaged. So we also show, okay, this service coming up, memorial service coming up, preaching coming up, this coming up, that. So the mind is absorbed in all that, and the mind does not think, so the mind is engaged and it goes out of the focus, like that. Therefore, we have to keep ourselves very busy in service. And therefore the aspect of sadhana becomes so important.